Harry, thank you for joining us. You've had your first few weeks in the Highlands. How's it been so far?
Yeah, really good. I've settled in well. Great bunch of boys here. I've enjoyed training, meeting the manager, and beautiful scenery around here. So yeah, it's good.
It's a big adaptation process coming from London to the Highlands of Scotland. Was it daunting at all to have to come so far north and be so far out of your comfort zone?
Not really. No, I think I grew up sort of outside of London, but obviously the last few years I've been there, and obviously it is very different. But I grew up outdoorsy. I don't really want to sit inside all day, so I've been out playing golf and doing that thing. But no, I'm just here to play football at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So.
Obviously, this season the club had a big turnover in terms of players. You're one of 10 that have come in, 15 have left. Does that make it almost that bit easier coming into a changing room where there are so many new faces?
Yeah, definitely. I think with Jack and Joe sort of joining after me as well. I'd been there a few days, so I can sort of help them, settle in as well as me. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I think either or, like the boys would be brilliant up here, so they helped me settle in really well.
Why Ross County? What was the big driving force to come up to the Highlands?
I think, to be fair, the Scottish League this year, I don't really know much about it, but this year it seems to be so strong, and I think compared to other options that I had in England, I think this was a big step for me. And then Ross County came in, obviously the gaffer here, big name, big person, so again trying to impress him, get a good reference from him, and yeah.
You had your pre-season with Arsenal. Part of that was up in Scotland. Did you still feel, although you were included in that pre-season camp, that you wanted to get out and experience more regular first-team football again this season after being at Oldham last campaign? Yeah,
definitely. I think I had a good year last year, but I just want to keep pushing on and keep playing men's football. I think once you get that taste for first-team football, you don't want to stop. And yeah, although I was involved in pre-season, I sort of always knew that I was going out on loan because I need them steps for my career. So.
Obviously, last season we touched on there, you were at Oldham. What would you say already have been the differences between that League Two environment in England and the Scottish Premier League?
I think the main difference is training, because in League Two you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, basically every week. So you have sort of light sessions, whereas here you play Saturday a lot of the time. So training's a lot more hard, which I like. I don't mind. I think that's the main difference, and yeah, the quality of players, I guess, is better and the intensity. So.
Tell us a bit about the environment at Arsenal. Obviously a Premier League club, a huge history, one of the world's most elite football clubs, and you've been part of that for some time. What is it like down in North London?
Overwhelming, to be fair. I think I sort of get used to it, but then when I came on loan last year to Oldham, it was sort of like a shock. You sort of it makes you realise like what you have when you're there, and I think when you go back, everyone's sort of like it's acting normal, but you've been away, so you go back like really grateful about what it is. But the facilities there are incredible, but amazing pitches, literally everything's just top drawer. But yeah.
What are your personal ambitions for your time here in Dingle?
Just get as many games as I can. Help the team, hopefully. We've got our aspirations for the season, but I think personally for me, just play as many games, tip the games off, do well, and hopefully get my name about and see what happens next year.
Obviously, Harry, this year it's been well documented. It's probably the strongest Scottish Premiership there's been in over a decade, with the return of all the city clubs to the top league. What's your expectation of the Scottish Premiership?
Well, like I said, I didn't really know much about Scottish football, but I think this year, like you said, it's so strong, and it's going to be a battle this year. I think we're favourites to go down, and me as well as all the boys here, everyone here is, I'm one to prove the haters wrong, prove people wrong. So, I think it'll be a challenge, but I won't face down from challenge, and I'm really looking forward to it.
The opening 5 fixtures for Ross County are last year's top 5, including Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, and we've obviously played Hibs and St Johnstone. Surely as a player that's got to be a challenge that you absolutely relish, wanting to play against the best players week in, week out.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming here, my biggest thing was, in training, perform well, just so that I'm getting into the team ready for these big games. Because there's nothing better than playing at these stages. We've got Sutton Park coming up. Playing in front of 60,000 will be absolutely incredible. So it's going to be a challenge, like I said, but it's something that I'm absolutely looking forward to.
Belief and encouragement are probably the two aspects that any young footballer needs. Tell us a bit about the kind of support mechanism you have away from football in terms of your family, because you've got a very, very supportive family.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've all signed up to Ross County TV and they're all tuning in at home. I think my mum, dad and brother are coming up to the games, and my sister and her man have put like a rota together about when they're coming up and things like that, which is nice. But, they always text me every day about how was training, how was this, how was that, and it is good because obviously it does sort of get lonely up there. It doesn't, but it does. Do you know what I mean? But no, they're really. I love them all so much. But as much as I miss them, they're always there on the end of the phone, and they're coming up, this year sometimes.
So far, Harry, that our supporters haven't seen a great deal of you. Obviously, when you came in, it was the Hibernian game. What can Ross County supporters expect from Harry Clarke on the field this season?
I'll never ever back down from anything. Even if it's, Rangers at home, Rangers away, Celtic home, Celtic away, I'll give everything on the pitch. I won't stop even if we're 3-0 down, 3-0 up. I'll give everything on the pitch. On the ball, I look to play forward. Off the ball, I like to read passes and use my pace to defend, and I'm aggressive, so all of that.
Finally, Harry, last question for you. It's a big year for Ross County, but it's a big year for you. Do you think this spell, this season-long loan at Binding will tell you more about yourself than anything you've done before?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think just these first 5 games is going to be a challenge in itself, and I think this year will really determine whether am I either going to kick on, am I going to drop back down, but I think I'm ready, and what better place to do it.
Thank you very much for your time, Harry.
Thank you. Cheers.